Man, I like this rifle. This is my Ruger SR-556. It's still stock, but stock. The stock. Upgraded the end plate here with the Magpul ASAP sling attachment point. Pretty sweet. So, putting your single point sling on there, pretty handy dandy. And then also this Magpul MOE Plus. Got the little core thing here. I don't have any core for it. I hope that when I do, it's a lot easier to get out. So, anyway, I think I mentioned that in my other video, that thing's a pain in the ass. I put these K&S anti-rotation trigger pins in, didn't mention them in my last video on this, but it was there. And then I've also gotten a bad lever put on there. Same stock trigger and fire select. Oh, pardon me. And I mean, I've had this forever. My Yotech. It's been on my rifle for a while. It's the 516. The new one with the controls on the side here. And it's a real EOTech, not a Eurotech or whatever. Got the Troy handguards on there. I kept those. The Troy battle sights. I just realized that these are not moved up to the most forward position. I may do that. There's another reason to go shoot it, so I might as well mess with the sights so that I get to go on another sighting session. Still have the Ruger birdcage flash suppressor on it. Kind of toying with the idea of putting a different one on, but meh, not really that important. Oh no, my serial number. Oh my god. So there you go. This is a really sweet rifle. I enjoy shooting it. Every time I do, I'm surprised at just how much fun it is. Fit and finish is pretty decent. There's, of course, this wobbly old buttstock. But the takedown pins, no problem. We'll take the bolt apart and all that stuff, let you look at it. So, let's get intimate with the Ruger 556R. Alright, this is the bolt. Excuse the fan noise, it's getting hot down here in Texas, and the room I'm in was converted from a garage half a garage anyway into my computer room. So the air conditioning in here is not perfection. So the SR-556 is a piston gun. The first thing you'll notice here is this key. It's not a gas key at all. The op rod in the upper that runs from the gas block at the front, it's similar to an AK in operation, except for the op rod is not actually mated to the bolt carrier. As with the AK, when you take the bolt out of an AK, you have the bolt carrier assembly, which is much smaller than this. There's a rotating bolt, and this long rod comes out with it. That is actually the gas piston. The whole thing, the piston is mated to the rod, is mated to the bolt carrier. With the AR design, what Ruger did, and subsequently all the other manufacturers making these piston guns, what they're doing is they're just imparting. They take the op rod out of the. It's no longer married to the bolt carrier, and it's a good design. Even though it would be simple enough to just pull the whole thing out, as linear as the AR setup is, it wouldn't be hard. But it just seems to me to be very unwieldy to have the op rod stuck to the bolt carrier. But anyway, the op rod, you can see where it hits right there, is it smacks that right there, and then you got the whole situation with the bolt being cycled, and that's your movement right there. It's not like the AK bolt has seems to have much more of a movement. I'll take my SR-556 or my 556R apart, and we'll do a side by side if y'all want. Just let me know if you guys want to see the difference between an AK style bolt and an AR bolt. But anyway, this is a piston bolt carrier, and there are some downsides to it. I can't just grab an AR bolt and throw it in my gun, but at the same time, this bolt system is more reliable in the fact that it runs cleaner than a piston gun. You don't have to run this one wet. You can see that there's some residual on here because I don't clean my upper out with the toothpicks and all that stuff. This is just, from all the shooting I've done, which is just a few hundred rounds. I don't get to shoot as much as you guys would probably like me to get to shoot, and as much as I know I would like to get to shoot, because I live in the city. I don't want to go shoot at a 25-yard range, which is what I have locally. At the end of the summer, they're going to have a 100-yard rifle range, indoor rifle range, 4 lanes, opening up. And when that happens, I will be going down there with this camera and my 300mm zoom, so that I can use it, to capture some video of targets, and hopefully, use it like a spotting scope. So we'll see how that happens. But anyway, kind of got off subject there. The bolt is very similar, and the bolt carrier group is very similar to a standard DI bolt. Ruger had an issue with carrier tilt when they first came out with this gun, and what the deal was, the backside of the carrier, you can see how rounded it is, was not rounded like this. It was much more square, and what it would do it would eat into the buffer tube where the I guess it's a pin. It's on a spring. It sits in a pin, and the little nipple sticks up, and it holds the buffer spring in place. So as the buffer goes back, it would eat in to the transition point between where the threaded lower was screwed into, or the buffer tube was screwed into the lower where it's threaded there, and after a while, the buffer retention spring and detent would pop up into the upper, and you would have a catastrophic failure in the way that the gun would no longer operate, and A lot of people see their weapons as, you know, always being necessary for defending themselves in any situation. I personally, I'm convinced that if I'm ever in a situation where I'm defending myself with a weapon, it's most likely not going to be the one that I want to defend myself with. I'll be using a pistol or something, trying to make my way to this, which, you know, would be a completely unrealistic situation. If I made my way to my gun safe with a pistol, the people who I wanted to defend myself from would already be dead, unless there was just a lot of them. You know, zombie time, whatever. But hopefully I have a little bit more notice before the zombies get to my house. I hope they start in South Dallas, and I have some time to, you know, ready up. I mean, I got my mags loaded, but anyway, I'd like to have this in my hand when they show up hungry. I could feed them some lead sandwiches, lead M&Ms, whatever. So anyway, you can see that this is, and if you sit this side by side with a DI gun, the weight of this bolt is similar to a full auto M16 bolt. This portion of the bolt is taller. There's more mass here than with a DI gun. It's not equal to this height as with an M16, but the thickness here is thicker than your standard DI gun bolt. The material there, and you notice the color is hard chrome, so it cleans real easy. It doesn't need a lot of lubrication, in my opinion. I haven't had any issues with any galling or any sort of abnormal wear that I'm aware of anyway. So let's take it apart then. How about that? So we got this here pin. You should just be able to pull it out. Right, that's your firing pin. Retainer. What it does is inside the bolt, you have your firing pin sitting in here, and this pin actually sits here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me do that. So the firing pin can only move this way. Keeps the pin from falling out. So when the hammer hits it, and the bolt cycles backwards, the carrier, you don't have the bolt or the firing pin moving all over the place. And I think it actually sits on top of it. So, but anyway, that's the movement that's allowed within the firing pin channel. Can't go any more than that. And the firing pin itself is very simple. No moving parts other than the part itself. Where it strikes here, it's just sharpened up into a tip, and then the rest of it, it's chromed also. It cleans up nice. I have mine lightly oiled. Just get some oil on my fingers, and whenever I'm putting it back together after cleaning it, just I can feel all the oil on it right now. I don't know if you can see my hands getting oily, but they are. So alright, so now at this point with a DI gun, you would have to rotate this pin to get it out of the way of the gas key, but since we don't have a gas key, you just pull it right out. So I don't know if you guys are starting to see this or not, or some of you are obviously already aware. Yeah, there you are. That's the disassembly. So outside of the bolt carrier, let's see what it looks like. You'd have the that pin in there. Is that magnetic? Huh. I guess they did some MPI testing on this or something. Maybe. So it's magnetic. The firing pin rides through the center of the bolt and through the center of this pin. So now you see that's held in place. The firing pin goes through there. This is the standard stuff. There's nothing special about any of this. The specials are in the the upper workings. So there you have it. The bolt, this plunger here puts the force on this side of the casing, and the extractor here is actually grabbing the rim. And so when you get to the point where the shell, the brass, is outside of the chamber, this spring is always forcing it out to the side. It always wants to go this way, always pushing this way. So when it clears the chamber, it's wanting to go out the ejection port. So it does. So this spring here is very important, and it's stout. Ugh. You break your fingernail trying to push it in. And the extractor pin, I'm not going to take it apart just because it's kind of a pain in the ass. But the pin here, you push it out, the extractor comes off. There's a little spring and a rubber grommet inside here. So you clean that out too. You know, every other time you shoot, take it apart and give it a good cleaning. So this is what the assembly is like inside the bolt carrier group. Again, all this is chromed on the SR-556. Everything inside here is chromed except for this pin and these pins. The bolt itself, bolt carrier, this is it. I mean, there's no more moving parts, no more breakdown to it. You get in there with your, you know, your what are those things? Wow, my camera just said the movie recording is stopped automatically. So anyway, what I was saying was, I guess I need to change the length of my recorded video. So anyway, you get in there with Q-tips and stuff. You clean out the firing pin channel and the bolt channel, whatever it's called, where the bolt lives. And so we'll put it together, back together real quick. So just reverse the order. The bolt, you want the extractor always to be, when you're looking at it, on your left. Oh, you'll notice that there's no gas rings on this bolt because there's no gas being forced into this bolt carrier. What you would have in the gas key is this gas would come down through here, and it would impinge on this portion of the bolt. And once the motion is already in motion here, and what happens is the gas comes into this area. These gas rings keep it from going further back, and on a standard DI bolt you'll see those two holes here. That's where the gas comes out. So the gas comes in through here, down and out, but it's already making this right turn, this abrupt turn is what forces the bolt back. So anyway, let's put it back together. So you're looking at it, you find your extractor, it's right here. So we want it to be on our left. There's only two ways you can do it because you've got this hole here that the firing pin retainer goes on. So we'll look at it, we'll line that up, and then we'll put this pin in, line that hole up so that the firing pin can go through it. Pretty simple stuff. You just take your firing pin, stick it in there, it falls in place. There you have it, like that. And then you can see, when you take this guy here and put it in, keeps the firing pin from coming out. So we'll just put it in the rest of the way. Sometimes you have to give it a twist. And sometimes you have to hold your mouth just right, evidently. These things are a pain in the butt. Alright, so what I ended up doing was pulling out and kind of pushing down on it as I was pushing it in. You got to get it in all the way because, as we all know, the clearances on these ARs is tight, and you can't have it sticking out past a radius there. Shouldn't be out past it. We'll see if it slides back in easily enough. But so anyway, this whole thing I just kind of lube it up. But the weight bear or the bearing surfaces here, 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 where the trigger, where the hammer rides here. You'll see, hammer's going to smack it, and then it'll get pushed back and right alongside this. And then the bolt's going to come back, and the hammer will be down. And then hit it again. So this is what's actually knocking the hammer back into position and setting up the next cycle. I feel like I should wipe that thing down before I put it back in my gun. Let me do that. Okay, what I'll do is I'm just going to take one of these rim oil wipes and just rub the entire outside surface of my BCG here, and then I'm going to put it back in the gun. So just so you know, I don't typically use these, but since I can't tell whether or not it's sweaty fingers or oil that's all over this thing, safety first. Alright, so here's where all the magic lives, up here in this area. My hands are still greasy, so there's another pin here that you need something to help you usually get it out. It's a nasty one. Oh, shite. Well, sir. Oh, excuse me. Pardon the unprofessional nature of this. Oh, you guys are used to it. What am I saying? Alright, so you can see this pin is coming out, and you're supposed to have this turned actually. Turning it is a pain in the butt. It's been explained to me that you can turn this with your hand, but I personally can't. That's gonna break. I mean, that's how tough it is. I don't have all my tools out here with me because I'm not cleaning it. So anyway, I'll just explain it to you. What you got is this is the gas regulator. Inside this portion of it, you've got 3 holes, and each one is progressively smaller, I guess, if you consider going from 3 to 1 and then 0. 0 being no hole at all. You'll get no gas up here from the gas takeoff port, and you will not have a semi-automatic rifle any longer. What you'll have is a repeating rifle that you manually cycle the bolt with the charging handle for each shot. I guess there's a use for that, if you want to suppress it and not have the sound of the bolt. That sounds like a pretty decent trick, something to do there. But anyway, so I'm getting sideways again. This is the regulator. It has the 3 ports, and then in the end of it, it's hollow, the hole, and then the gas comes through there, and then there's a piston, and the piston is about this long, and it's wide up here. It has a couple gas checks, or areas for gas to mingle in there, and then exit out the bottom once it's done its job of pushing this guy. And then the rest of this is a solid rod. So there's no way to view it through here. Man, that's a heavy barrel. So, just a second. Alright, there it is. You see that rod in there? That's normally where you see the gas tube. That's what's impacting the bolt carrier there. That rod. And yeah, that's the way it works. I like that focus. So, okay, that's the rod.